She's pretty for a black girl, I guess.
And you're ignorant for a white girl.
We've seen ordinary people stand up for what is right, time and time again on What Would You Do?
Hoping that someday you'll wake up, that this color, we bleed the same.
Heroes from all over the country and all walks of life.
Don't judge Muslim, Catholic, Jewish, or anything. Please. This is the United States of America. You need to respect it.
But no one in history has stood up against injustice quite like Atlanta-born Martin Luther King, Jr., an extraordinary man who repeatedly glared discrimination in the face and said, "No more."
I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
We sat down with Dr. King's daughter and the CEO of the King Center, Dr. Bernice King. This center, she says, is all about Nonviolence 365 and how a single person can make a difference when facing racial and social injustice.
We educate and train people in what we call Nonviolence 365, which is my father's philosophy and methodology of nonviolence, or a way of thinking and a way of acting and behaving. We teach in Nonviolence 365 principles and steps. The principles are the foundation that keep you centered and focused on the fact that these people or person is a part of our human family, that the approach that we take must always keep in mind a win-win solution and have as its core reconciliation.
We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protests to degenerate into physical violence.
Now, the first step in that regard means that yes, there is a wrong, but in order to get all of the facts and information and get to the truth, you have to do information gathering. I am going to do something about it, but before I try to go out, and rally people around this wrong or this injustice, I'm going to do some information gathering. Daddy and them did that, and then they educated the community and rallied people around it. And from there, people were able to better embrace nonviolence in the process of protesting.
And for the people who don't have a community to rally around them.
Well, the reality is, don't measure yourself by a movement. I think that's a mistake. I think you measure yourself, first of all, by yourself, and you recognize that there is something that you can bring to the equation. Rosa Parks was one person. She didn't know when she stayed seated that a 381-day boycott would ensue. She had no idea, but it did. So you have to be in the position, and somebody has to be saying something, speaking up, shining a light for people to even begin the process of rallying around an issue. And so I say, yes, you can make a difference. Rosa Parks was one person, Martin Luther King was one person.
Now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time.
Positive energy ultimately will prevail. Doesn't mean that in the process lives are not lost. No, they will be lost. But ultimately, as Daddy said, in the end, unarmed truth and unconditional love wins in the end.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.